All right, so it is rather bothersome to me that you guys said that you don't know or you're not very confident with factoring. Factoring is one of the probably the most important things that you guys can learn, in algebra. So I wanted to take the time to actually explain this flow chart and then show you some examples that we did in 11-7 and 11-8. So the first thing whenever you try to factor is you're going to look for a greatest common factor. Okay, that's the first thing you're going to look for. So if I go backwards a little bit here, this question here, it was all divisible by 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out 3. Okay, once I do that, my flow chart then says, do I have 2 terms, 3 terms, or 4 terms? Okay, so if I have 4 terms, this is like that objective, that first one. Where is it? Let's see if I can pull it up here. It was our factor by grouping one. La, la, la. Here's 4 terms. Okay, right, so I had, 4 terms straight across. That is a factor by grouping situation. So if I go back, and you guys are going to see me flip back and forth, so I apologize. But 4 terms is factor by grouping. So what was that? That was 11-3, right? So anytime you have 4 terms, you're looking at, and that was our objective, 11-3. In the end, once you do that, you can group them. I did the, group them by 2 and then factor out a GCF, greatest common factor. Or you can group them. We haven't seen this yet, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay. And then if I have 3 terms, then I have a choice. Is it like x squared plus 5x plus 6, or is it something where the coefficient of x is not 1? Like a 2x squared. I'm going to probably pick one that doesn't factor, 3x plus 1, for example, right? So that is a not equal to 1, and that is an a equal to 1. An a not equal to 1 is where we do the bottoms up. So we have our b term in the top and my 2 times 1 in the bottom. And then when I have 1 in front of x squared, then I have 5, and then I have 6 on the bottom. Okay. So that's if I have 3 terms. So anything I have 3 terms with, let's see, let's go back here. Something like this has 3 terms, but my a is equal to 1 because that number in front of a squared is 1. Okay. I have something like this, right, where my a is equal to 5. So my a is not equal to 1, but there's 3 terms. So that's where that flow chart is important, okay? So now if I go back, let's go back to the flow chart. If I have 2 terms, then I have some choices. So we haven't seen fractional exponents yet. That is in advanced math. But you have sum of cubes, right? So this one is that a plus b a squared minus ab plus b squared. So that is if I had a cubed plus b cubed. And then my difference of cubes is if I had a cubed minus b cubed. This factors to a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. Okay. Or I had a difference of squares, which is like x squared minus 49, and that's x minus 7 and x plus 7. So really, your first way when you get a factoring question, and this helps you with the next unit as well, is that I first look to see, do I have something in common between all my terms? If I don't, then I automatically go, is there 2 terms, 3 terms, or 4 terms? And then it just branches out afterwards. Now, if I do have a greatest common factor, then I deal with the common factor first, and then I decide what I'm left with, is it 2 terms, 3 terms, or 4 terms? And that's how I go about identifying what process to use when I do factoring. Okay, if you are confused about these specific things, so that was your factor by grouping was 11-3. A is not equal to 1, your sum and difference of cubes is 11-6. Your 11-5. Okay, so 11-4. So this is 11-5. This is 11-4. No, this is 11-4. 11-6 is sum and difference of cubes. 11-5 is bottoms up. So this is 11-5. This guy's 11-6. And I think we did difference of squares. It's 11-4. I think difference of squares was that its own objective somewhere. It's at the beginning. 11-4, 11-3. Factor by grouping. Greatest common factor was 11-2. Where's my difference of squares? Oh, there it is. 11-4. Okay. So this is 11-4. So you can go back and look at those specific videos. And if you're looking for the actual problem set. But there is like factoring not equal, A is not equal to 1 video. There's a factor where A is equal to 1. There's a sum and difference of cube factoring. There's a difference of square factoring. And then there's a factor by grouping. Okay, so all of that is in your on the YouTube channel in a specific playlist with, I think it's just, the playlist is factoring that you guys want to look at. Okay, and that is it for your factoring kind of like review.